Welcome to this week's edition of Campus News. I'm Armin Reid.
And I'm William Veith. New COVID policies, a coalition for anti-racism, and updates on sports, arts, and entertainments are coming your way right after this.
Quiet in the studio, quiet on set. Ready to roll tape and record. Roll tape and record.
Speed.
Fade up camera 2, open mics, cue talent. Fade up camera 2, open mics, and cue talent.
Good.
Hey, what's going on in there?
Oh, that's ECTV. It's the on-campus television studio. Do you want to take a look inside?
This week on ECTV News, new commencement speaker has been announced, Truman the Dog.
ECTV is Elizabethtown College's on-campus television station. They produce shows every Sunday and Tuesday, allowing everyone to get involved. Whether you want to be in front of the camera, writing scripts, on the crew, or even try your hand at producing a show, ECTV has a spot for you.
That's a wrap, everyone.
Jump into the action with ECTV.
ECTV meetings are every Thursday at 7 p.m. in the Steinman Lounge and are open to everyone.
Elizabethtown College recently updated their protocol for COVID cases on campus. Students that test positive for COVID now have the option to isolate on campus, so long as they have the approval from all their roommates. So students who choose this option must abide by additional regulations, such as having no guests in their room, wearing masks when going to residential bathrooms, and avoiding eating at the same time as their roommates.
I think it's a testament to how we're understanding the pandemic better. And like the 2 weeks was like the uber safe option. And then as we learn more about it, we can narrow that down. I do have some hesitancy about that point where it said, or until 24 hours with a fever and symptoms are greatly reduced. That could happen in like 2 days, but wouldn't you still be contagious for like 5 days? So that kind of concerns me.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I would like to think that it's a sign that things are getting better. We'll have to see, I guess, the results of if it does work, if 5 days is enough time to quarantine and be rid of the virus. But I think especially in our demographic, a lot of people are not symptomatic when they test positive for COVID, so it's hard to know like when you're fully out of that period of time. So.
The full list of guidelines is available on Elizabethtown College COVID-19 Updates webpage. Choosing to isolate at home or off campus is still available. Students are cleared to leave isolation following at least 5 days since their symptoms began, or 5 days after their positive test having no symptoms. These policies have been updated in accordance with the CDC's most recent guidelines.
On Wednesday, February 15th, the Coalition for Anti-Racist Education, better known as CARE, held their inaugural meeting. Members of the Etown campus gathered in Hoover 110 to hear about the mission of CARE, along with how they can get involved. Director of Global Understanding and Peacebuilding, Dr. Shannon Haley Mize, led the meeting as she is a part of the Executive Council for CARE. After giving background on CARE, Haley Mize asked attendees to answer questions that focused on what issues they would like to see addressed, which sparked a group conversation. Haley Mize shared one of her hopes of the coalition.
That not everybody feels a sense of belonging while they're here. We want to increase our diversity on campus, not lose that diversity.
Those looking to get involved should head to etown.edu/centers/global/care to fill out the general membership form.
Love was in the air on Valentine's Day in the Bauer Center Demo Kitchen. A love for food, that is. Diversity, Equity, and Belonging continued their Black History Month celebration, lined up with their Cooking for the Culture event. Housing and Residence Life Area Coordinator, Eugene Thomas, was the chef of the night, sharing a variety of cuisine with the crowd. The dishes ranging from chicken, pasta salad, and chickpea curry, attendees were able to learn about the power of food, and more importantly, the power of seasoning. Associate Director of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging, Dart C. Mills, shared more about the significance of the event.
Regardless of our culture or where we come from, there's a lot of important things that we place behind food. Gatherings during holidays, gathering during special family events, and it's pretty much the common theme that runs through no matter where we're from.
Diversity, Equity, and Belonging will continue their Black History Month event lineup with a performance by the Zuzu African Acrobats this Friday at 6 p.m. in Leffler Chapel. Speaking of athletes, Jacob Moser is back with another week of sports news.
Hitting it off strong, the men's volleyball team traveled to Huntington, Pennsylvania for a doubleheader on Saturday, February 18th. The Blue Jays met at Juniata College for the Eagle Invite, where they battled Penn State Altoona at 3 p.m. and later took on number 1 Juniata College at 5 p.m. The afternoon started very nicely for Etown. The team captured the opening set 25-21 and the following set 25-22. While they would drop the third set in a nail-biter 26-24, they quickly got back to business. The fourth set would be the nail in the coffin as the Blue Jays bounced back with another 25-21 set win, taking the match 3-1. The Blue Jays quickly got back on the court for their second match of the day versus number 1 ranked Juniata. Things looked promising early for the upset-hungry Blue Jays, grabbing the opening set W 25-23. However, that would be all she wrote for Etown. The Juniata Eagles showed why they are the number 1 ranked team, winning the next 3 sets by scores of 25-11, 25-15, and 25-12. Following this event, the Blue Jays head back home with a solid performance, splitting the doubleheader and sitting at 7-7 on the season. They will get a much-needed break and then prepare for their next match in Langhorne, Pennsylvania against Cairn University on March 1st at 7 p.m. The women's basketball team ended their season on a high note this past weekend. The team played their final game of the regular season on Saturday, February 18th at 2 p.m. in Baltimore, Maryland against Goucher College. After a back-and-forth first quarter, the Blue Jays came out firing on all cylinders in the second quarter. They showed a dynamic ability to score the basketball and played inspired defense on the other end of the court. As the buzzer sounded to send the teams into the locker room for halftime, the Blue Jays held a commanding 29-19 lead. From this point forward, they never looked back. The Blue Jays continued to control the game from end to end and closed things out with a dominant fourth quarter, where they outscored Goucher by 8 points. With that, Etown took home their 21st win of the season by a score of 74-56. They moved to 21-3 and will shift their focus to the Landmark Conference Women's Basketball Championship semifinal game against Catholic University. This big game will take place at home in the Thompson Gym on Wednesday at 7 p.m. The men's basketball team completed their season over the weekend. On Saturday, February 18th at 4 p.m., the Blue Jays went on the road to Baltimore, Maryland to take on Goucher College. It looked promising for Etown early as they took an early lead. The two teams headed into the locker room with the scoreboard reading Etown 39, Goucher 35. However, the tides turned after the second half opened. Minute by minute, Goucher slowly cut into Etown's lead, and by the 9-minute mark, the game was tied. The teams went back and forth for the next 5 minutes, but with 3 minutes to go, Goucher caught fire. Etown was held scoreless for the last 3.5 minutes of the game, while Goucher was pouring it on, scoring 11 straight points. When the clock hit 0, Goucher was on top, winning the regular season finale by a score of 77-67. For the Blue Jays, they end the season on a 4-game skid and finish 10-14. Before next weekend's Landmark Indoor Championships, the men's and women's track and field teams headed to Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania for the SU Tune-Up, hosted by Susquehanna University. If the tune-up is any indication of next week's championship, it'll be a successful weekend for the Blue Jays. The men's team found success all over the track, but especially in the 60-meter final. Junior Myron Holland Jr. ran a 6.94 to win the event, while senior Jalen Belgrave took third, junior Simon Burleson placed fifth, and senior Evan Schwab finished seventh. The women's team also capitalized at the tune-up and set some personal records in the process. In the high jump, senior Jocelyn Italy raised the bar literally and figuratively to 1.57 meters, which is a new personal best. The men's and women's track and field teams will return to Susquehanna University on February 25th, where both teams will compete in the indoor championships. To wrap up the weekend, the men's and women's swim teams competed in the Landmark Conference Championship. We'll have more results next week on how the event turned out for the teams. That's all we have. Back to you.
Thanks, Jake. Interested in the arts? Elizabethtown College is holding an art exhibit called In Light of Color, which is being held in the Lyot Gallery, located on the second floor of Leffler Chapel. This exhibit has 10 different artists' work. with different approaches to the use of color in their paintings. In Light of Color will go on until March 23rd, so stop on by to see these original pieces here on Etown's campus.
On Friday, MadCal hosted their Improv Your Pants Off show, which invited their audience to choose their games to play. Admission was free, but guests were also able to buy raffle tickets to try to win some fun MadCal prizes. Some of the games the audience chose included Slideshow, Blind Man's Bluff, and Props.
That's all we have this week. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at ECTV40. I'm Armin Reid.
And I'm William Veith. Have a great week, and remember to
Take flight, E-Town.